Hi again, it's Martha, and it's day 5 of the Inktober Tangle challenge. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to draw the StarRite Tangle together. We'll go through 2 takes on the StarRite Tangle, one that's quick and easy, and another that's a little more involved for when you want to stretch your creativity. The simple version will be on a bijou tile, and I'm going to be using a black Pigma Micron 01 pen. I'm starting with a small orb or circle in the center of the tile, and I'm drawing 5 slightly curved lines radiating from it. And I'm doing my best to kind of separate them as evenly as possible. Now, starting at the end of the curve, I'm going to curve down to the left and the right side, and I'm stopping above the circle. I'm now going to curve down to the left and then the right, and notice how I've connected that left side right there to the last petal. They look like petals to me. So there I go again, left side, and then left side and right side. I've zoomed in here so you can see a little bit better, but I'm going to draw a series of parallel lines that are parallel to that first kind of middle line of each petal, and I'm drawing several on the left and then several on the right. And I'm going to go back and color in every other space. So looking closely, I added 3 lines on the left side of the center line and 2 on the right. So here I go again, 1, 2, and 3, and then 1, and then 2. And then I'm going to color in. And notice how I'm coloring in only the bottom section and then the top section of that little stripe, if you will. So it's creating this highlight in the middle of the stripe. So 1, 2, and then 3, and then 1, and then 2. And this number of lines allows me to fill in 3 little stripes on each one of these petals. Feel free to pause the video and meet me when you have completed the stripes on the last 2 petals. For the next step, I'm going to aura around the entire flower or star, however you're looking at it. And if you're new to Zentangle, aura is essentially drawing a line next to another line. You also could see this as almost like an outline of something. So we're drawing the same thing with just a little space between. And for the final step, I'm going to add some graphite to the tips of these little petals and also around the orb. So we're adding a little bit more depth here, kind of making this flower or star shape more three-dimensional. All right, and I think one little bit of graphite right there in the middle to make that center dot a little bit more three-dimensional, a little bit more round. All right, so that is Inktober Tangles 2025, day 5, and it is the StarRite Tangle. So that's our simple StarRite Tangle, and I think we're going to move on to something quite a bit different for the complex version. I'm going to start with a black Zendala tile, and I'm going to be using a white Jelly Roll pen in a size 10. So I'm starting with that orb in the middle, and then I'm drawing 5 curved lines radiating to the edge. And I'm leaving about a thumb's width of space between the end of that line and the edge of the Zendala tile. And then again, I'm going to come down to the left with a simple curve. And then the curve on the right is going to have a little bit more curve in it right there. So the left side is just a simple C curve. And it's connecting back. And then that right side has a little extra curve at the top, just to add a little variation. All right, so all the way back to the first one, and we are now going to draw those stripes. So 3 lines on the left side, and then 2 on the right, and then coloring in the top section and the bottom section of the stripe. Or I guess maybe not the top and the bottom, but the part close to the orb, and then the tip of this star shape. Please feel free to press pause and go ahead and take your time creating these stripes and filling in, and I will meet you when you are done. Next, I'm going to aura around the entire star, which to me looks like a flower, a star flower, maybe. I'm just taking my time. I'm using the size 10 pen here. Personally, I like the larger tipped white jelly rolls. They seem to flow better for me than the 05 or the 08. But obviously, the larger the pen tip, the broader the line, and it might not work well on a small tile, but for this larger Zendala, it works great. Okay, so I'm going to go back now and fill in the background with another tangle. So this is the Printemps Tangle, and it's one of the original Zentangles created by Zentangle Inc. And it's a tangle that is taught almost in all beginner Zentangle classes. What we're doing here is creating a spiral and then connecting that spiral to itself. So you're closing off that spiral line and creating a shape. And I'm filling in between each of these petals. There's no exact number, just what I think works. And I'm going to try to have some variety of sizes. So maybe one large one and several more that are a bit smaller. Just kind of make them friendly. Fill them in nice and close there. Now I'm going to go in and add a few of these spirals, this Printemps tangle, just out in that empty space. Almost like they're floating away. So it's like they're growing from behind the star or in the crevices between these petals, between these star arms, and then they're just maybe starting to break off and float away. I like to do little groupings of 3, so you'll notice that a lot here. I've done several of those scattered about. And then some singletons. So I'm going to add one more tangle here, and this is the Floors Tangle. It is another early Zentangle created by Zentangle Inc. And I'm just going to start off with a series of parallel lines, and I'm drawing, between my other 2 tangles that are on the page. I know that this can be a little bit challenging because there's already a lot going on, but do your best to just draw and then pick up your pen and then draw and then pick it up again and then draw on the other side. This is really going to give that sense of drawing behind and also just a sense of depth with these different tangles layered on top of each other. I'm now going to draw perpendicular lines across these, and I'm going to try to keep the same width as the first set of lines. So I'm creating that checkerboard pattern with the lines. So the next step in the Floors Tangle is to draw this kind of curved diamond shape at the intersecting points of those lines. So essentially you're rounding out the corners and then filling in. And I always leave at least one of these undone, and I will see it days later. But just do your best. You're curving the inside corner of each of these spaces, and so it is a diamond shape, and then you're filling it in with that white ink. Last step, I want to add some white charcoal. So I'm coming in here and adding it around the center orb, and then also adding it to each of the 5 tips of this flower or star or whatever 5 pointed shape we have created. Whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to get my tortillon and start to blend that charcoal into the black paper, just softening it up, and add a little bit of that highlight there to that orb, make it look a little bit more round. And then I'm going to come outside of the central star shape, flower shape, five-pointed shape, and add some charcoal, oraing the aura. So I'm going on that very outside edge. And I'm just hugging the edge there with the charcoal, and I'm being pretty heavy-handed with it because I'm having to draw not only on the black paper but on top of those other tangles. So, press firmly for this part. Next, I'm going to add some of this white charcoal to the floor's tangle by just going on top of the original lines. So just adding some charcoal right on top. I'm going to go one direction first, and then I will switch and do those opposite lines. So I'm coming in with my tortillon and softening up this white charcoal here around the star shape, the flower shape here in the middle. And this really reminds me of why I like the white on the black tiles so much. The white charcoal is just so lovely. It really does kind of glow on the black paper when it gets blended in with that tortillon. I love it. I'm also going over the floor's tangle, and I'm just going on top of those lines and just smudging it out. And that's just kind of softening up those straight lines. All right, so there is another take on the StarRite Tangle. I have made it a little bit more complex and combined it with the Printemps and Floors Tangles. And here I'm adding my chop with my white Jelly Roll pen. And then I'm going to go ahead and label the back. Inktober Tangles 2025. And we are on day 5, and the tangle is StarRite. Thanks again for drawing with me today. I hope you have enjoyed these 2 versions of the StarRite Tangle. Remember, it's up to you if you want to keep it simple or push it a little bit further. Again, my name is Martha, and I want to thank you for spending this creative moment with me. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 6.